morning. It is 7:27 in the morning. I am in Sierra Madre today. I am attempting to do the old Mount Wilson trail, which is the only trail right now that's open that goes to the Mount Wilson Observatory. Wanted to do another hike for the 6-pack of peaks challenge, which I joined last week since I'd already done half of the required 6 peaks. So I figured it might be fun just to join the challenge. So today I decided to do Mount Wilson because it was either between this or the Baden-Powell trail. And what was different about this trail is that it actually starts at less than 1,000 feet elevation. It does go over 5,600 or 5,700 feet climbing, which is more climbing than even San Gorgonio. However, there is apparently a cafe called Cosmic Cafe up at the top of the trail and also an observatory. So what you could do is you could hike up there and have like a chili cheese hot dog and a nice ice cold soda, refill your water, and go back down. So it's almost like it's 2 separate hikes because there's like a pit stop in the middle where there's food and rest and a gift shop. So apparently you can also drive up there as well. I am a little bit worried because it's supposed to be really hot today, and originally I wanted to do this about an hour earlier because I just slept through my 3:30 alarm and I had a backup 4 o'clock alarm which went off, and I was like, oh shoot, I missed my first alarm. So yeah, I'm starting this a little bit later. It is supposed to get into the 90s, so hopefully it's not too terrible. I think it'll be a decent hike. The climbs are pretty steady. It is 2 miles shorter than San Gorgonio, so I'm not expecting it to take nearly as long or be nearly as hard. I did manage to find a parking space. It's just street parking at the trailhead because it's like in the middle of a neighborhood, and then there's like a Mount Wilson park. And there's bathrooms at the park. Hopefully they're unlocked because the park's supposed to open at 6. It's 7:30 now, so hopefully that's good. Yeah, so I'll just do my usual routine. What I do have to worry about that's new is apparently there's some really aggressive bees on this trail. So I did bring a bug face mask. Hopefully I don't get stung. I mean, if I do, I've never gotten stung by bees, but I don't think I'm allergic to bees. All right, so I'm gonna put some bug spray on, sunblock, and then I'm gonna head out. All right, 1.33 miles. 1.33 miles up. It's hot. I poured some ice water on myself. It's just a lot more exposed to sun. I don't know what people were talking about when they said it was very shaded. It's not. I'm still pretty much in the sun, and it's just unrelenting uphill. So I'm just working on that right now. It's not just a ridge bed, but it's just not giving up. It's just uphill, uphill, uphill. I'm gonna keep going. Oh, you can see the racetrack from here. Cool. All right, I am 2.63 miles into the trail. Found a spot of shade. I'm gonna take a break. I've done maybe 1,700 feet of climbing so far, and it is hot. There's more parts of it in the sun than I thought. We did move to a part where there's a slightly more intervals of shade, which is notably cooler than when you're in the sun. But it's still hot because I started later in the day. Super glad I froze a liter bottle of water plus this iced tea frozen. I'm cooling off. I actually started carrying my water bottle like in my shirt like this just to keep cool. Then I remembered I had the smaller bottle, which is probably more convenient. So I'm going to put this, kind of like tuck this in my shirt like this just to have something handy to cool if I need it. It's not super hot. It's just the hot with the climbing is challenging, so I'm gonna take it slow. There's a cafe in the end. Well, there's a cafe at the end of the uphill is what I'm gonna keep telling myself, with nice cold soda and chili cheese hot dogs and burgers. Okay, I've gone 5.36 miles, maybe 3,500 feet of climbing. I'm not quite sure. Probably ended up being more just because there's some random up and downs and I'm just basing it off of current elevation to final elevation. This last stretch was in the sun and it was roasting and there was like quite a steep climb. I think I'm probably like less than 2 miles from the end, hopefully. Like at least 1.2 plus some parts where I wasn't sure how long it was because I couldn't tell on Gaia GPS how long those stretches are. Probably closer to 2. It's been rough. The heat when it's not overcast is pretty oppressive. Got to a shady part. I'm just gonna wait till I cool down for a bit before I try this next stretch because I don't want to overheat. My first bottle of frozen beverage is gone and my next frozen bottle is almost all gone. And then I've got just the regular room temperature water, which is still super good. I'm debating whether or not 4 liters was undergaming it. I should be okay. There's 2 miles left and then I have a water source at the Cosmic Cafe. Actually getting a little bit hungry thinking about the chili hot dogs up there. Just gonna try to cool down a little bit more before I keep going. All right, I'm 6.61 miles into the trail. According to the last time that I passed, it's still like a little bit over a mile left. So it's gotten hot. The climb's kind of flattened out a bit, but there's not a lot of consistent shade, only in some rock structures, like, you know, most of the trail is sunny. So I'm just taking a break to cool down again because the heat, I think, is the biggest factor at this point. There were some other hikers. One of them was cramping up on the trail because he dramatically slowed down. So I offered him either one of my salt lick tablets or a packet of Noon. So he took the packet of Noon and mixed it in water. So hopefully he feels better. Last time I ran into a hiker who was cramping due to the heat, I didn't have anything, so I was unprepared, but this time I was prepared. So that makes me feel a little bit better. So usually I'll eat like a pack of the Noon on the way up and then maybe another pack on the way down, but I figure I probably don't need both because there's actually soda at the top. So I think I'm probably okay giving up one of those packs. Plus I still have the salt tablets, which I used last time I was cramping up a little bit. So I'm still in good shape in terms of supplies. Both my frozen waters are now gone. I only have whatever's left in my camel pack. And it feels heavy enough that I think I have enough left, but definitely need to refill. So that was over 4 liters of water, and I think I'll just have enough getting up top. So that was like 2 miles a liter about if I run out at the top, around that part. So it's the heat is making it a lot tougher hike, and I kind of wish I started earlier. Probably would have felt better. I don't even have the elevation to help with the temperature because I started the hike at like 960 feet elevation above sea level. So we're only climbing like up to 56, 57. It's not enough to significantly cool down. So I'm afraid to check what temperature it is right now. It feels like it's in the 80s, and I think the forecast said 90s. Even this rock that I'm sitting on in the shade feels hot because it's just like the ambient temperature is that hot. So I'm just gonna cool down a little bit more and then I'm gonna keep going. All right, I'm 7.24 miles into the hike. I think I got less than a half mile till something. It's just the last stretch has been really brutal sun. The uphill wasn't that bad, but the sun is pretty brutal. We're like 145 right now, so I think I'm almost there. It's just I don't think I've been this hot for a while. Even Joshua Tree, if it was like this, I would have turned around and gone home. But I think at this point I just got to make it to the next water stop up top. I mean, that's the summit, that's where the water is, so I found a little bit of tree shade. I'm just gonna stay here as long as it takes to cool down my body a little bit, because last time it was this hot I had aid stations and ice cubes. Today I don't have ice cubes, not till I get to the top, so I might wait till the sun starts setting before I start heading down, because this just, I mean, I think even heading down this is going to be suffering. So I just started this too late, or maybe it's just too hot today to do this trail. So I think I should have gone for the shorter trail today, but I got stupid bravado. So I'm just gonna cool down a little bit more and then I'm gonna keep going. The double fisting kind of soda kind of day. This is going to be the most delicious hot dog ever. Right, 1 chili dog and 1.5 Cokes down the hatch, and I'm walking around the parking lot area for the observatory. So I think the quote-unquote summit area is supposed to be near there. Oh, there's a sign. It looks like the observatory is this way. Let's check it out. Yeah, I feel so much better. That last part nearly killed me. My legs were okay. It was just, I knew my body was overheating and I kept taking breaks in the shade. It was just really, really hard. And I sat down for a bit, ate. Now that I know I'm just kind of like hanging out for a little bit, it's much, much nicer. So it looks like the observatory is actually a bit away from the Cosmic Cafe, because that was the first stop. Like, I got to the Cosmic Cafe parking lot and then get up to Cosmic Cafe. Now there's like a back area where there's a little bit of a walk to the observatory. But I still got half a can of Coke, so I'm good. I haven't filled my water yet. I'll do that before I start heading down, but I don't want to like lug that around right this second. Yeah, still a little tired, even though feeling a lot better, still kind of tired. Ooh, space things. Still walking around looking for the summit. There's a lot of cool stuff. There was like multiple telescopes. Can't actually go look at the telescope, but there's also a museum that has fun stuff inside to look at. So yeah, I'm just walking around right now. Glad I got those 2 sodas because I needed it. There's so much more walking. I mean, my legs kind of feel it a little bit, but I think this is probably good. I was planning on waiting until probably 4 o'clock to do the descent anyway, because it's gonna be just as hot until probably like 4 something. I have 2 headlamps, so I'm not afraid of it getting dark, plus like a good solid 3.5, 4 hours before the sun's really bad. So just walking around right now looking for the summit area. There's like a whole rim trail up here as well, so I might check that out, as long as it's shaded somewhat and flat-ish. Alright, gonna keep looking around. I think you're just humble bragging about how many telescopes you have when you put up a sign directing people to the different telescopes you have in the area. There's a sitting area in the telescope climb. I guess that's the paid tour, maybe? Pretty cool. Smells like science. So yeah, I just checked out the 100-inch telescope. I didn't actually know you could go inside and check it out. I knew they had tours, but even if you miss the tour, they have hours where the gallery is open, so you can go in and then enter a room. You have to hike up the stairs to be on the same level as the 100-inch telescope, and then there's a little gallery with giant windows where you can see into the room where the telescope is, so that's pretty cool. It's an interesting stop to a summit hike. I'm still looking for this highest area. I'm like next to the secondary parking lot. There's this side trail in the back. I think this might be it. If this isn't it, I'm just gonna Photoshop a sign at some point, because I made it up here, even if I couldn't find the actual rock that people pose with. So I don't know. I think this looks like it could be it. Just not 100% sure. I keep looking for this rock, I guess. Alright, so I guess this is the viewpoint area. And I guess this is as close to summit as I'm gonna get. Alright, so I took some selfies at the summit area. But yeah, technically the summit area is Cosmic Cafe because it's at a higher point. Or maybe it's when I went into that 100-inch telescope. That's probably the highest point I could get to today. Yeah, overall, I guess there's a bunch of interesting stuff here to see, but the summit doesn't feel like a summit. It's literally next to the parking lot. So, of the summits I've done, very anticlimactic peak, but I still have to get back down, so that part might still be summit venture. So, it's 4:04 right now. I'm gonna start heading down because I think it's actually gonna start cooling down a little bit. And I've topped off on water. I'm still holding a thing of iced tea. So, I think I'm good to go. There's really nothing else to do because the cafe is closed, the observatory telescope area is open for another hour, but I don't really want to wait another hour. So we'll see how long the descent takes. It was, what was it, about 7.5, 8 miles up here, so about the same going down, I guess. The second half of the climb is a little bit more difficult, but I think as long as I can get down to the first half of the climb before the sunset, it'll be fine. So I'm probably gonna try to speed run this last part anyway, just because the sun is scorching and it still doesn't feel like it's cooled down yet, but hopefully once I get to the sunny part, it will have cooled down a little bit. Also, because I'm not net hiking uphill, hopefully it doesn't feel that bad. So I'm gonna start the descent. I've got 2 light sources just in case I'm full up on water. Alright, starting the descent. Alright, so I'm descending on the Mount Wilson toll road, which is, I guess they call it toll road because they used to charge 25 cents for each hiker who hikes up this road. Anyway, so the good thing about hiking it after 4 is that this was completely, okay, 85% scorching sun on the way up, but now that the sun has moved to the other side of the mountain that this is on, it's just 100% shaded, so it feels 1,000 times better. Also, I'm going downhill. Yeah, it really does make a difference what time you come up here. So I saw 2 trail runners pass me on the way up, and I guess maybe they were trying to take advantage of the fact that it's not as sunny right now on this side to do the trail run up. But one lady was like completely out of water, and I asked her if she needed any water, but they were pretty close to the water spigot anyway. They said they didn't need water. There's 2 of them, so I mean, push comes to shove, they could probably catch up with me and I'll give them some water. So I am going much slower than I'm going down. Alright, this area looks completely different. Somewhat different when it's shaded, because I'm actually not suffering so much that I can't see anything, which is what it felt like this morning when I came up. Well, I suppose it was like around 1 o'clock by the time I came up, so it's been like 3 hours since I passed this last time. So there's a I guess there was a rock slide that closed it for a while. There's still a lot of debris, but not unmanageable, you know, for a hiker. If you're trying to drive up here, that's probably a bad idea, which is why there's a separate road for driving up. All right, so I'm just gonna enjoy the stroll down because it's super nice in the shade right now. So nice. I guess the bad part about this hike is that when you're coming down, you can see huge stretches of what you still have to do. So I'm not nearly done yet. Look at all that stuff that's left. It's gotta be like at least 2 miles. Man. All right, I'm 6.33 miles into the descent part. And I think my body is done. Oh, there was like up and downhill on the way down, so I think I pushed my body too hard in the heat on the ascent. So the legs actually don't feel so bad. My body is just done. Like, you know what's encouraging? I'm seeing evening hikers come up, so it can't be far. It can't be that far. I can see houses now, so it can't be that far. I'm like, yeah, I'm almost done. Except for this part right here. Cry. All right, so quick recap of what happened towards the end of the hike down from Mount Wilson. I was super tired and super exhausted, so by the time I really got to the end of the trail, and when I did get back to my car, I was just too tired to really provide any kind of commentary about what happened for the hike. So overall, I'm debating whether or not this was my hardest hike versus Cloud's Rest that I did a couple of years ago when I went to Yosemite for the first time. I think for me, Cloud's Rest was suffering and pain, but it was more of the slow burn, this kind of sucks, but I never questioned whether or not I was getting out of that mountain alive. It was just a matter of what would we do if it got dark? But I was fully equipped. I was prepared to spend the night cowboy backpack camping in Cloud's Rest. So I didn't think I was in trouble. I thought maybe things would get difficult, but I knew I was gonna get out okay. The thing with this hike from Mount Wilson was that it was so hot. I was hurting. It wasn't like my muscle hurt, it was my body was telling me I was redlining. I don't know how else to describe it. I don't think I've ever felt that bad before. It was like everything was just too hot and there was nothing I could do about it. The sun was just so hot and my body was so overheated that I honestly didn't know if I was gonna be okay. And I had stopped filming at that point because I didn't have time to waste to get out my phone to film. It was that bad. You know, with heat-related stuff, it could get tricky, so I wasn't sure if I was in trouble or not. On the one hand, I was hot and tired and I wanted to take a break. But the problem was, if I just stood still, I'm not actually getting better because the sun's still beating on me and I didn't have any way to get cooler. It was beyond the point where I knew I was self-sufficient. That's how bad it got, temperature-wise. And I know it was like all super cool about it after I summited and, you know, I had my hot dogs and my Coke. But I think back on it, and I really thought I might be in trouble at that point. Like I bitten off more than I could chew, and I shouldn't have done that hike on that day. I don't know, morale-wise, like that one part got real dark for about an hour there. Like it was, well, maybe half an hour of really scary, not sure how this story is gonna end kind of vibe. So yeah, overall, it wasn't a disaster. Decisions could have been better made. I mean, I think at this point, now that I'm like safe and my body's recovering, I'm glad I did it just because it was a lessons learned that, hey, don't be so cocky to think that you can handle everything, because Mother Nature is gonna whoop your butt. So that's my lessons learned from Mount Wilson. Don't tempt fate if it's not important. See you next time.